From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Activists are warning that the climate clock has fallen below 6 years, suggesting that humanity is running out of time to limit the rise in global temperature to 34.7 degrees. The climate clock uses a countdown timer to show how much time human beings have left to take action on climate change. It has been ticking since 2020 and recently dropped below 6 years. Activists say this summer's extreme heat waves and other climate-related disasters are signs the effects of climate change are already being felt and that environmental deterioration expected after 6 years is happening now. On Saturday, protesters worldwide demanded action from governments and businesses to address the climate crisis. The next UN Climate Summit, COP28, will be held in Dubai in November. In related news, scorching temperatures are spreading across the Midwest and millions of people are feeling the heat. Heat warnings have been issued for parts of Midwestern states such as Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, and Montana. This is as other states experience even hotter weather. The National Weather Service predicts temperatures will rise in southeastern California and nearly all of southern Arizona. A heat warning is also in effect for northwestern Utah. North and central Texas are expected to see temperatures in the triple digits this week. The Weather Service says heat indices are expected to be 110 to 115 Fahrenheit. In Nevada, 2 female hikers were found dead on Saturday at Valley of Fire State Park. The cause of death has not been officially announced, but it is suspected the high temperatures may have drained them. A temperature of 114 degrees was recorded Saturday afternoon at the park northeast of Las Vegas. One body was found on the trail while the other was found in a canyon. Researchers have discovered a link between a planet-friendly diet and a reduced risk of death from chronic diseases. A study has found that people who followed a more sustainable diet were 25% less likely to die from cancer, heart disease, and other chronic illnesses. The plant-friendly diet includes grains, fruits, vegetables, and nuts. These foods have been found to have a positive impact on health and the environment. Researchers behind the study have created a new dietary scoring system called the Planetary Health Diet Index. It evaluates various foods and assigns scores based on their impact on chronic diseases. It also considers the environmental impact of each food item, including factors such as water and land usage, nutrient pollution, and greenhouse gas emissions. The research was presented at the annual meeting of the American Society for Nutrition in Boston. FBI analysts ran improper searches on a U.S. senator and 2 state officials using a foreign intelligence database. A declassified court opinion released Friday shows the FBI ran searches using the last names of a U.S. senator and state senator targeted by a foreign intelligence service. It also said the FBI conducted inquiries on the 702 database about a police officer using the Social Security number of a state judge who filed a complaint with the FBI. Both of those acts did not meet investigation standards. The court has called for intelligence agencies to strengthen their surveillance mechanisms. Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which was enacted in 2008, gives broad powers to intelligence forces. It authorizes American intelligence to monitor non-U.S. citizens abroad. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said Section 702 is the cornerstone of U.S. national security and that the Biden administration supports it. Former President Donald Trump has vowed to impose the death penalty for anyone caught trafficking children. Trump says if he's elected president next year, he will combat human trafficking with a heavy hand. He has called it modern-day slavery. Trump promises that he will immediately end what has been called the Biden border nightmare, which traffickers are using to exploit vulnerable women and children. Trump also says he will urge Congress to ensure anyone caught trafficking children receives the death penalty immediately. The president of a Texas university has resigned over a new racial conflict. Catherine Banks, president of Texas A&M College, resigned after facing criticism of her administration's handling of the hiring of Kathleen McElroy, a prominent black professor. McElroy's hiring drew opposition from a conservative alumni group because of her support for programs that promote race and diversity. The university initially offered McElroy a permanent position, but later changed the offer to a 5-year contract. Then the contract was changed again to last 1 year. McElroy ultimately decided not to accept the offer. Banks' resignation came after Texas Governor Greg Abbott signed a law eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and training at public universities. On Thursday, the Florida Board of Education approved new guidelines for teaching the history of Black Americans. They included language criticized as whitewashing the legacy of slavery. We're bringing you more news stories after the break, so stay tuned and we'll be right back. Welcome back. The historic Hagia Sophia in Istanbul marked the third anniversary of its reopening as a mosque on Monday. Ali Erbas, head of the Turkish Presidency of Religious Affairs, led the morning prayer at the Hagia Sophia Grand Mosque. Since it was reopened for worship, 21 million people have visited the historic site. Erbas says it was inherited from Mehmed the Conqueror and that it is the most important symbol of the conquest of Istanbul. Ottoman Sultan Fatih Sultan Mehmed performed the first Friday prayer after conquering Istanbul in 1453. Turkey's Yunus Emre Institute is reviving Thuluth calligraphy in Afghanistan. The institute has established Thuluth calligraphy classes on the campus of Kabul University. Currently, nearly 20 students are taking the free courses, which started in the first week of July and will continue until December. The Thuluth script dates back to the 7th century Umayyad Caliphate. It is a large and elegant cursive script used for decorations. Thuluth is rarely used for writing Quranic texts. It was used for grand architectural decorations, tombstones, manuscripts, ceramics, and metalwork. Jewish settlers living in a forcibly evacuated Palestinian home were seen throwing out the belongings of the displaced family on Sunday. On July 11th, Israeli police forcibly evicted the Palestinian sub-Lebanon family from their home. It was located near the Al-Aqsa Mosque in the occupied Old City of East Jerusalem. Noura Sub-Lebanon stood in front of her house and recited the Quran to settlers. The family had been fighting a legal battle for 45 years against the Israeli government and Jewish settler organizations' initiatives, but they lost the suit. The Israeli judiciary accepted the Jewish settler organization's claim of ownership. The court granted the Palestinian family until June 11th to vacate the house. The Belgian Supreme Council has ruled that imams of mosques in the country's Flemish region can receive salaries from abroad. In October 2021, the Flemish region banned direct or indirect support of funding of places of worship from abroad. It also banned the payment of salaries to imams from funds they receive from abroad. The Belgian Islamic Coordination Council, represented by several local Muslim groups, challenged the decree before the Constitutional Court. The court on Thursday annulled some provisions of the decree because they violate religious freedom. It also rejected the argument that foreign funding and support would undermine the independence of local religious communities. The court ruled this constituted a disproportionate interference with religious freedom. The Islamic Council has expressed satisfaction with the ruling. There have been problems in the country with the recognition of mosques affiliated with the Turkish-based Belgian Diyanet Foundation and with the payment of salaries to imams. The ongoing conflict in Syria is affecting cancer patients in the opposition-controlled Idlib province. Locals say the Syrian army and Russia are continuously shelling health infrastructure in the region. Over 3,000 cancer patients need treatment in Idlib. Idlib's health director, Dr. Zohair Karrat, says a hospital project for cancer treatment is being planned, but it is not expected to be completed for another 18 months. Karrat says over 300 cancer patients are being treated in Turkey, but the number of patients exceeds the capacity Turkey can handle alone. Karrat says of the more than 3,000 patients, over 600 need immediate treatment. The ongoing conflict in Sudan is having a devastating impact on the lives of children. According to Unicef, more than 400 children have died and over 2,000 have been injured since the conflict began in April. UNICEF's Ted Shaban was shocked at the scale of the impact during his visit. He says children not only are being killed and injured daily, but are also being abducted. Sudan is home to nearly 14 million children in urgent need of humanitarian assistance. Before the conflict, there were over 3 million people already internally displaced, of whom nearly half were children. Now, over 1 million more children have been forced to flee their homes. UNICEF warns that more than 4 million women and girls are at risk of experiencing gender-based violence. The International Organization for Migration estimates at least 700,000 people have left Sudan for neighboring countries. More than 20 people have been killed and dozens more wounded Monday in a suicide bombing attack in the Somali capital, Mogadishu. Anadolu News Agency reports a suicide bomber blew himself up at a military training facility. At the time of the blast, a long line of new recruits was waiting at the Jalis Siyad military training camp. Media reports put the death toll at more than 30 people. Terrorist group Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the deadly attack. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Salam and good night.